Hey, good evening. We're starting tonight up in the upper garden. It's getting on dusk. This is the Asian pear. And I just thought I'd show you how this ended up. I ended up having to make openings here so I could reach the rest of the garden. I don't have a good piece to go across here to keep the dirt in. Right now the only thing keeping it in is the fact that it's clay mostly. And inside the clay is mostly just sawdust and leaves with some coffee grounds. So what I've got going on in front of the trellises right now is I have some garlic that we're planting for just the green shoots. I planted these this spring, not in fall. So this will be for stir fries. And then behind that, I have peas planted. They're starting to come up. I thought maybe they'd be a little taller by now, but no. And there's some bigger ones. I think we planted those about 2 weeks prior. So you can see I've got a step here so I can get in between and weed this. And on the end bed here, I have rainbow chard and kale. And then in front of all these guys, they're still in the ground yet, is potato onions. Potato onions grow in a group, in a bunch, so that when you pull them out, you have, I don't know, up to 9 bulbs all in one little patch. And I've got the same on this side as well. I've got potato onions in here. Looks like I got maybe one coming up. And that's all that's going on in this section. All right, then behind me is a garden bed, a raised bed garden with cinder blocks. And let's see if I can get a good shot of it. And I'm doing this one like the Living Farm. Lynn Gillespie teaches gardening, and she has some really great methods that are easy on the back if you're an older person, and also just dead simple and so easy to weed and take care of. Right now I switched out, last night we had a hard freeze, and today I switched out the cover for this tulle, which I'm hoping will keep the birds off the lettuce. Down in this section, this is going to be my lettuce rotation section, I have Tokyo turnips. It's a Japanese salad turnip. And then my first section that I was supposed to get lettuce was over there. Yeah. Pardon me. All right. You can see I didn't get very much germination. I don't know what happened. I planted 3 different kinds of lettuce, and I didn't get much for my buck. So I restarted them in the house in soil blocks, and that'll become my second planting. Meanwhile, I had already planted these. This is a red romaine, and they come up green, so it makes you think that it's green lettuce, and then eventually it turns all dark like that. And then this is the garlic that I planted last fall, so this will be harvested for bulbs. Probably around mid-summers, June 21st is when that'll be ready to harvest. Since I planted this before I had the garden here, there's an entire row that's actually not in the cinder blocks. And then I have some radishes here. These are French breakfast radishes, and they're doing pretty good. I have some onions. I think these are the Walla Walla that didn't get harvested last year. They were too tiny. They just didn't grow well here. And this is scallions, and they were just a little too small. I'm going to be planting those in this next week, and those are going in the cinder blocks. And so in the front here, I'll have scallions in the holes in the cinder block. The section where this basin is not going to be planted for another 3 weeks, and then 6 weeks later I'll dig these guys out and replant this section as well. So that's what's going on here. And I have arugula, and I think those are just more radishes, so French breakfast radishes. I believe someone told me that the watermelon radishes don't do well in spring, they do better in fall. So I saved my watermelon radishes, and these are my new clips to hold things on. I am tickled pink with these clips. These came from Circo Innovations, and they hold on in the worst wind. We had a windstorm come through, and all my frost blankets were still exactly where I had them. I'm just using them now, leaving them on the center post just so I know where they are. And there's one set that's on the bottom. There's a double layer of tulle here. This is just tulle from Joann Fabrics. I need to get some more of it to cover the blueberries. In this section, I have beets, which really haven't come up yet, or they're very small. And I planted carrots, and I don't know what we're going to get. I can see carrots coming up here. But not too much underneath. Not too much at all. Maybe a little bit. We'll see. We'll see what we get. I'm going to give it another week, and we'll see what happens. So that's what's going on up here next to the garage. And I'll show you some actual nice, lovely green things that grew all winter. I'm putting in my cabbages here. I need to extend this a little further down. I have a lettuce mix I put in here. I have Claytonia. Claytonia is also known as miner's lettuce. The cabbages are going to get planted in the middle of all this and take over as that stuff dies back. I have spinach in here, and this I just harvested. That was mosh, and that's pretty much it. I got a couple stray mustards in here, and these have been grown all winter. I planted these probably in January, February, and they've been growing undercover all winter. So they grow a lot slower, but they were doing splendid. This is pure shade in the winter. And this is red vein sorrel. And in the early spring here, it is just simply delicious in salads. As it gets on towards summer, it gets bitter, kind of like a dandelion would. I have a couple of leeks in here that overwintered, and I think those are onions. The rest of this is a strawberry bed, and the carrots that didn't germinate all last year decided to germinate. So instead of having strawberries on the end, I've got carrots on the end, and that's fine. That's fine. I'll take what I can get. In the cinder blocks down here, I planted peas for pea shoots, just to put in salads. That guy right there is a parsnip. Don't ask, it's here. Sometimes they grow where they want. But you can see right there, that's a pea shoot coming up. And then there really isn't anything other than those strawberry here. There really isn't anything planted in these guys. And chances are I have a lot of onions and leeks that need homes. So that's probably going to be fair game. So that's what we got going on in the backyard today. Hope y'all have a good evening. Oh, one more bed. I lied. I flipped the compost pile. That's where the compost pile was. That's where it is now. I need to let that dry out and then harvest what's in the bottom, run it through probably some hardware cloth to get rid of the twigs, and then flip the compost pile back into its place. This is supposed to be spinach. I don't know if it's just growing really, really slow or if the mouse got at it. It's possible mice got in it. It's hard to say. This is still mostly sawdust and is decomposing still. So this is supposed to become a zucchini bed, but none of my zucchinis germinated so far. So it may not become a zucchini bed because nobody has seed right now anymore at all. And that's just the state of things. Anyway, have a good evening.